our social media team, and also a very, very special VIP guest of ours, Lindsey Morando from Hello Bar, and also, just like you, a fellow course creator, digital entrepreneur, run tons of different courses, set up loads of different courses, and helped lots of other people grow their own online business. Lindsey, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We can't wait. So I know you've got quite a broad breadth of experience when it comes to digital marketing, but I know specifically we wanted to talk today about how, excuse me, one could capture more email addresses using tools like Hello Bar, and what perhaps are the best ways to engage your audience to stop site abandonment, stop cart abandonment, to get more opt-ins. So if you'd like, Lindsey, I can leave this over to you, or if you want, we can go on to a couple of questions. Rob, just keep an eye on the chat and to see if we've got anything that's coming in as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Maybe Lindsey, why don't you start off and just introduce yourself and a little bit about Hello Bar and how you ended up there.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you guys so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here today. And yeah, I actually, kind of funny story, I started in marketing in 2002. And my first job was actually in a bar and restaurant, collecting email addresses on Monday Night Football for a raffle with a clipboard. So if you could imagine collecting like hundreds of email addresses from people that had been drinking beer and were excited about Monday Night Football, I not only got the pleasure of collecting them, but I also had to input them into a system and then unsubscribe them when they bounce back. So I've been, in the realm of email collection and marketing for many, many years. And thank goodness technology has come super far since then. But since then, I've written my own book. I have worked with companies all across the board, spoke all over the country, even taught a college course on digital marketing. And as Patty mentioned, had my own coaching business for 4.5 years, which I took from 0 to 6 figures in under 8 months. And with that, we were doing a ton of email collection and course creation. And then 2 years ago, I became the director of marketing for Hello Bar. So Hello Bar is an amazing company. And basically Hello Bar is, I look at it, some may call it a pop-up software. Maybe you've seen our top bars on sites or our modals or page takeovers, but I look at it as really bigger than that. I look at it as kind of the first touch point in your sales funnel, right? Because when somebody hits your website, that's the first impression they're going to get of you. And that's really where Hello Bar comes in really having the right message at the right time so that you can start to create the right impression for people on your site. So that's a little bit more about what we do with Hello Bar, but we have top bars, modals, sliders, really anything so that you can take your free offer and really collect more email addresses on your site or just get more sales, take people to certain pages on your site. I really look at it as kind of like a little mini sales assistant to take people down the path you want them to go.
Yeah, that's actually the perfect analogy. My background prior to this, I was working in like the online shopping cart abandonment space, and and obviously that's a huge industry because I think it's like 2/3 of most transactions don't complete, and that like exit intent pop-ups and the ways to capture email addresses are absolutely critical to delivering a really great experience for your users. And I don't know what the state of play is for a lot of like digital entrepreneurs out there, but Lindsey, is there any like estimations, or is there any data you see about how many abandonments or how many like exits you can capture on a page typically? Is there like a formula to that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I don't have any specific stats on like how many people specifically you can, but usually around 2 to 3% of the people that are leaving, you can convert into either email addresses or actually just paying customers. So we actually currently have a page takeover upon exit on our site. Site-wide, we collect an additional 900 signups a month. From that, it's currently converting at, I think, about 3.5 to 4%. Now that's a little higher, standardly 2 to 3%. Keep in mind, we do get a good amount of traffic organically to get that. But even we had a client that we worked with, their name was Cord Buddy. They were on Shark Tank. And they actually had, people knew them because the owner, Travis, had won on Shark Tank. And so they actually, we put an exit intent on their shop page because they had a high bounce rate. People were leaving. And we actually got that to convert at around 2.8%, which increased revenue by about 50% specifically from Hello Bar. So that's kind of the range, I would say, is like the 2 to 3% is really good. And if you can get it up to that, you're starting to really just save people. Really, at that point, you look at they're leaving. By doing that, whether you're collecting their email or getting a savings, you're able to just save them and get them back into your community.
Yeah, it's a vital thing, especially for the new the new course creator or the course creators just starting out, and they're doing everything. They're emailing their list, or they're emailing their friends, their family. They're on social media. They're trying to build up that sense of authority in their market. Every single visit counts, so, especially when you're starting out. So I know I've had the pleasure of putting the tool on some of our like Thinkific test sites, and this is not an exaggeration. Like I managed to get that done, get the Hello Bar set up, and I had it done in like 30 seconds. So it is as easy as that. It is as easy as that, and I'm no way like a big tech guy. It is super simple. So if you've currently got a Thinkific site, for everyone out here, if you've currently got a Thinkific site, or even if you're a course creator on another platform, wherever it is, and you're not capturing email addresses either on your landing pages or also across your site, you are missing a huge opportunity here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 98% of visitors are leaving sites without taking action. So if you think about it, you're spending a ton. I know when I was an entrepreneur, a ton of time and energy and money trying to get people to your site, right? All to find out that they're leaving without doing anything. So if you can sweeten the pot by whether it be doing some sort of cool free offer that leads ultimately to your course, or some sort of savings or free shipping if you have a physical product, it's going to make a really big difference because right now a lot of people are just bouncing off because they're not finding what they want, or maybe the user experience isn't very seamless. So coming up with something that really leads to your course is vital. And I always tell people that, like, you've got to think about the customer journey. At the end game is to sell that course. You've got to ask yourself, what do they need to do or see before they're going to buy that course? Is it, what do you need to do? Do you need to educate them? Do you need to get on the phone with them? Do they need a savings? Do they need some sort of free offer that intros the course? That will make a huge difference long-term for your sales.
So would you say that it'd be best to have like different like Hello Bars or different methods at like each stage of that person's like decision making or buying process? So maybe if they come into like from a fresh Facebook ad and they're trying to like find out they got a problem, it can be like a 2-step guide, or maybe like a webinar. There'd be all those different methods. Is that something that you see gets worked well, or is it a case of just putting it up there and just captured emails?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think certainly knowing your users and where they're coming from is key. If you're getting all of your traffic and people to your site from Facebook ads, they're going to be colder leads, which means you need to warm them up before you can just say, hey, buy my course. So I think first and foremost, you've got to know where your users are coming from, and know who that client is, ideal client that's actually coming to your site, and where they're coming from, whether it be organic, traffic, referral. That's going to be the first stepping stone. And then from there, I think you can craft your offer around that, and figure out. So if, my person is coming from Facebook ads, like you're saying, then I probably should collect an email address, get to know them first, and then move them down the path. In terms of how you do that with, Hello Bar, and if you should have like multiple different, like you're asking about multiple different offers throughout the site, we actually find if you stick with one main goal on your site. So my ultimate goal is to do X, Y, and Z, and then creating like a top, based on what's happening on your site, maybe a top bar, and then, maybe a page takeover upon exit, and just displaying it throughout the site. It works a lot better. So an example of that is on neilpatel.com. Neil is one of our co-founders. About 2 years back, we had a course that we were trying to sell. It was an advanced marketing course. So what he did is he had a Hello Bar top bar, and then on his high bounce pages. So for those of you that have Google Analytics installed and know, okay, these are when people are leaving, these pages are the highest bounce pages. We had a page takeover upon exit. So it only displayed when people are about to leave. And all of those, the top bar, the page takeover, the homepage header, all led people to a webinar which then they got to get introduced to Neil, his teaching style. And in the end, if they were interested, he sold them the course. So what's interesting about that is every single call to action on the site went to the same webinar. The webinar led to the course. And I find that works a lot better because you're putting a lot more focus behind one main goal, as opposed to having a bunch of different, goals on your site and a bunch of different calls to action, taking people to different places, because then you're kind of spreading your traffic out. So I always suggest that people think about, like, really what's your goal for the month, maybe what's your goal for the quarter, and really have your hello bars reflect that on your site. Test them, then from there you can get a little bit more intricate, and start maybe presenting different messages like, hey, thanks for coming through our Facebook community, or whatever it may be.
So what do you find are like the best messages to grab people's attention?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I always tell people, when you're thinking about headlines, think about when you're scrolling through social media, when you're looking at subject lines, and when you're at the grocery store and looking at the magazine aisle, like what actually causes you to say, hey, I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to buy it, and creating like an Excel spreadsheet of all those, because those are like usually amazing and people have already tested those for you. But I think what it comes down to is a few key things. When you're crafting your headline, when you're crafting your offer, when you're crafting your message, again, you've got to go back to that avatar ideal client. For those of you that don't know the term avatar, it's used in the industry for like, who's that person that's your buyer? Like, they are the person you're building your product for. And I would think about, what solution are they seeking, right? Why would they buy your course? What's the problem they have? And then what's the solution that they're seeking? And then if you can provide them with the solution in that messaging and the headline, they're far more likely to take your offer. So for example, one that I always share is like how to get out of debt in 90 days or less with a simple guaranteed system, right? So if I was in debt, I would feel overwhelmed and I'm looking just for an easy way to get out of debt. And if you're telling me you have a simple guaranteed system that's 90 days or less, I'm going to take it, right? So reasons why that works is because you've got a specific number. You're telling me that it's simple and you're telling me that it's guaranteed. So I think that numbers work really well. Like 5 minutes or less, create, 5 healthy recipes in 5 minutes or less. So those numbers work really well, but really, again, you have to know the pain points of your ideal client. And then if you can put that in the messaging and the headline, it's going to make a huge difference. People are going to say, oh, wait, that's me. I need that. Because everyone's going to a website to find a solution, whether it be comfortable shoes or, a product that's going to support them in whatever challenges they're facing.
Fantastic. I got a quick question. So for the pages that you're sending them to, are these typically like the lowest, like in your value ladder? This is going to be like the easiest, either free or super highly discounted offer? Is that sort of the idea? You're not really going to go and like send them to your like high ticket checkout page, right?
Great question. Yeah, unless you're like Oprah, or really like, big brand, but Oprah's probably an extreme example, right? But I've seen some influencers that they've built their brand enough, like, the Neil Patels, the Marie Forleos, the, bigger, that you could probably send someone to like a $20,000 mastermind page and book people, right? Because you already have had the brand presence. Right. So I always suggest this. If you have a high ticket item like coaching, consulting, you're an agency, whatever it may be, I would either come up with like some sort of free, like 45-minute, like marketing or business strategy call, whatever it may be. I would send people to a page where they could fill out the form to get that call, right? Because they have to hop on the phone with you most likely to buy that product. Or the flip side of it is you could come up with some cool like free video series or challenge or something like that. That's an intro to what you're ultimately trying to sell, and then sell them through your email series. But so if that's what I would use for the high ticket, I would never just send them there and be like, here's a, $100 savings on my $10,000 package. Because it's very hard to sell someone right on your site, especially if maybe they're just getting to know you or they've never met you before. If you're more e-commerce, I would say smaller ticket items, you may be able, like a $25 price point, you may be able to just take someone over and give them a savings or a discount code. But if you have a higher price course, it's most likely better to just give them a free offer first, get them an introduction. So you could even take like a part of that course and make it like a mini course. That's your free offer. Then in the emails after, try to sell them on the higher tickets, because it's just a little bit more challenging to directly sell high tickets without people knowing what they're buying.
That's very true. Yeah, that's great advice. So getting that person to make that commitment to go fill in the form. Then you get back in touch to arrange that call. And that's good because it's sort of it specifically for these high ticket area. It's getting rid of those tire kickers and the people that perhaps are just, you know, they're not completely unsure, maybe not sure that they actually want to go and do it. So it's getting those people that are really interested. What I wanted to do actually, I just want to, because I know we've been talking about this a lot, perhaps I'm not really given Lindsey or us here at Thinkific the opportunity to show what this looks like. Now, Lindsey, if you're happy for me to do this briefly, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to install the code on my Thinkific score. I'm going to show everyone how easy it is to do it. And then what I'll do is then I'll give a quick demo that it works. And then what I think, Lindsey, if you don't mind, we do a quick overview from your side, what like some of the key things are, because obviously you're going to be much more better versed in this. Would that be a good idea?
Yes, I love it.
Great. So bear with me just a moment. I'm just going to share my screen here.
Takes time in of live.
Yeah.
Anything could happen.
Exactly. I love it.
So here is here's the back end. Beautiful, really simple. Now for a lot of people out there, I promise this is a 2-second process. So once you sign up for free, and everyone can get started for free as well. They've got a free plan that's obviously limited up to how many thousands of views. I think it's 5,000 views, which is probably more than enough for most people when they're starting out. So, you know, I definitely encourage people to get started. Copy the code, head on back over into the settings area. And for any of the keen eye people, we've just updated our logos and logo and coloring all over here on this side. So let us know what you think of it. Head into the settings area, code and analytics, and then you've got the site footer code. And then just paste that. I'm just going to minimize my thumbnail for a moment. And you just paste that in, hit save, and that's it done. And then what will happen is once you create your new pop-up, which we're going to do right now, I'm just going to keep we'll just keep the grow your email list, keep it basic for the moment. And do you see how that pops up there? So there's it's very easy for you to then go and make these changes. You hit save and publish, and that's it. That's how easy it is. And there's no funny business here. This is pretty much real time. So what I'm going to do is just quickly sign out for a moment. I'll just head over. I just need to do this one more time. Magic of the internet. Let's hope I've done this right. Does this cookie me? Oh, there it is. Yeah, there you go. Job done. So look how easy that was. Get it in there. Thinkific.com. So for anyone out there that's thinking, you know, how can I do this? This looks super complicated. I hope that shows that it is super easy, and you can get started right away. If you haven't got any method right now to capture email addresses, or you want to do it more on your landing pages or wherever else, this is a really great solution. Lindsey, was that a good enough presentation? Did I sort of nail that?
Yeah, you nailed it. I love
Fantastic. So based on your side, and what else could people be doing with this to generate more leads, more interest, and other things through their site?
Yeah, for sure. So definitely, like once you install it, what's cool is you can actually control everything from the hello bar login. So you don't have to go like in the back end or anything to get anything live. So I would say the biggest top tips I have that will support people, especially with those creating courses and everything like that, is of course first deciding what site asset you're going to choose. So top bar is really great, like Patty just showed you. Page takeover works really well. We find that the page takeover upon exit is one of our highest converting styles in Hello Bar. Google did a bunch of testing a few years back and found that people found the page takeover upon exit far less intrusive than the modal that sits in the center of the screen. So we actually use that on all of our sites, and it works really well. And then of course, you can change everything, the branding, the coloring, all that. But one of the biggest tips they have for you is the timing. So the top bar doesn't really matter because the top bar is there, right? It's great because it kind of sits there and is a part of your site. But for the page takeover, you'll hear us use the term exit intent. And really what that means is in Hello Bar, you can decide when you want your pop-up to display. So one of the reasons why pop-ups have kind of gotten the bad rap over the years as we all know that we've been bombarded before or gotten on site and seen something and, you know, hopped off, it's because people are having them display immediately. It's not giving anyone a chance to actually roam through the site for a second before they get a message. So what I would suggest, for those of you that are beginner, I would suggest timing your pop-up either after like 10 or 30 seconds or upon exit. Meaning so someone was leaving the site, they would get it. For those that are more advanced, I would look at your Google Analytics or just, you know, analytics in general, whatever data you have within the sites, and just see what your users are doing on their site. Are they leaving the site? Are they staying there for a while? Then you can decide when to time your message. So I think the timing feature is really, really important. And then the other cool thing you can do is you can actually say, I only wanted to show on this page, or I only wanted to show on my home page. So one of the things we'll do sometimes to test is we'll say, okay, if my home page is getting the most amount of traffic, I'm going to test a pop-up on there. I'm going to see how it does. And then if it does well, then I'll release it site-wide. So that's something you can do if you're fearful of like putting something site-wide before you know if it's going to work or not. That's kind of how we test things standardly with clients, is we look at where the highest traffic page is, put the offer on there, test it, see what converts, what doesn't, tweak the text, and then from there we can release it. And then, yeah, lastly, the other cool thing you can do in Hello Bar is you can create an A/B test. So you can really create it as quickly as you installed, you can create a variation, and you can test text and just kind of slightly modify it. And then Hello Bar will tell you when one's working better than the other.
Fantastic. We got a couple questions here. I want to say hi to everyone that's in the both in the Facebook Live and also in YouTube Live. We've got Evie Hernandez, who's from Miami, Florida. We got Graham Bolton from Brisbane, Australia, and also Simply Beth from Kansas in the States. So if you guys are on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, drop your questions. We've got a question here from Evie. She's wondering can you use Hello Bar with the free Thinkific account?
That's a good question.
Patty, I believe we can. Yes. Oh, Patty, you're on mute there. I'm gonna unmute you.
There we go. Apologies, everyone. I can double check that. So
yeah,
it's Evie, isn't it? Evie, I can. Let me check that, and I'll get back to you. I don't see any reason why not, because you should just be able to just copy that code and put it in the settings area. So yeah, I think it's okay. Don't take that as like the absolute answer. More like 80 out of 100. So let me find out, and then we'll drop you a note after this. And then what we'll do also, for everyone that's watching this on the replay or is watching this as when this content hits the World Wide Web, we'll also put a note in the comments. Well, I'll personally put a note in the comments to say, yes, you know, I'll draw a lot of attention to it, and we'll say that if it's possible or not.
Fantastic. Awesome. So if anyone else has any other questions, definitely drop in the comments here. We're answering them live. We are, with Lindsey Morando from Hello Bar. So got a question. Really, how does the pricing work for Hello Bar? I was looking at it. You guys do have a free plan, yeah?
Yeah, totally. So we have a free plan. With the free plan, you can have up to 5,000 views. You can't turn the Hello Bar logo off, but you can certainly get your assets live. You can start collecting email addresses. We don't have like a cap on how many email addresses you can collect. So that's the first version. The second version is the $29 a month plan. So with that, you can specifically say, I only want to show this pop-up on this page. You can do a lot of targeting based on ad campaigns, based on only show it on this date, etc. You also can turn the logo off. You can create a custom thank you page. And then one of the things I love the most about our $29 plan is you have access to our dedicated marketing specialist team for 90 days. So we have a team of marketers in-app live during business hours to actually help you craft headlines. So if you're stuck on a headline, we'll write your headline for you. If you're stuck on what to offer for your free offer or lead magnet, we'll give you some ideas. If your test isn't working well, we'll check on it and give you some tips as to how to make it better. So with the $29 plan, you actually get 90 days access to that team. That's really amazing. And then you get up to 50,000 views a month. And then the last one is our $99 plan. With that, you get unlimited access to our dedicated marketing specialists. So on demand, headlines, whatever you'd like. And then you get up to 500,000 views on that for those that have more bigger enterprise accounts. And then we have some other premium integrations and templates that you get alongside that account. So those are kind of the 3 plans that we currently have available.
That's really good. It sounds like you've got something to suit like everyone at their sort of their stage of the journey. But I found really interesting, and I know this sounds like I'm just doing like a big sales plug for this. I promise I seriously am blown away by the fact that you'll have like a team, like a dedicated marketing team, sit there and they'll help craft headlines for people. And obviously later down the line, having that like unlimited support, it's a great resource. So yeah, I would encourage anyone who's obviously having some difficulty with that to go and potentially sign up and take advantage of that as well. Lindsey, I know again we alluded to this earlier that you're a fellow course creator, a digital entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. I want to ask a question. So what was like when you were starting out? What was the main reason why you went out and started creating courses, or when you started to create digital products?
Yeah, so I actually started creating courses, I think it was 2009 or 10. I was a director of marketing for a fitness facility. My boss had spoken all around the world and he had DVD products. So he knew that they were really good, but he knew he also had to get into like the digital age. So we basically made the courses and the digital DVDs, or we made the digital DVDs into actual online course. So that was actually my first experience with taking those. We had to take a bunch of video footages from the conferences that he had spoken at and actually make it into a full-on course. So yeah, that was my first experience then. And then from there, when I owned my own business, I made a ton of different courses. I probably made over like 30 or 40 courses between mini courses and little challenges and actually like big courses. But I think the cool part about it was, and what I found the secret to success was basically testing out your course on people first and foremost. So I did coaching. So I actually tested out the curriculum on my coaching clients. And once I knew it worked, I basically just started recording stuff after sessions and made it into a course. So it made it a lot easier because I got the test market for it. And then I could actually, just record it after so I didn't have to do something from scratch. So yeah, I've been doing it for quite some time.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that because we sort of bang on about this all the time, that you must be validating your market prior to actually going out and creating content. And one of the great ways to do it is to host like a 1 hour like Zoom call or Zoom training session just like this, or in person. And then take those learnings and then re-record your content and go from there. So it's great to hear that again. Like this is another like great method to promote your stuff and obviously to promote oneself and one's course. And going through that process, yeah. And also, if there's any people out there that are, I don't know, stuck in that perfectionist trap, or maybe they've been working on the same course and content for a long time. Is there any advice that you could? Because I'm sure you've probably been caught in this yourself. Is there any advice that you could give to people that are like, they're struggling now, perhaps you can help them break free from that cycle?
Yeah, for sure. So 2 funny stories. The first is when I first started creating those courses, and you guys, my boss at the time spoke all around the world. He had like a pretty good sized email list. People knew him pretty well. So the first course we created was just like, if you got in there, you'd be probably embarrassed that we put it out to the world. Like it was just, this was before, we knew about like a lot of awesome softwares like, Thinkific, that, so we were putting it together very like not great, but it was really good content, right? And so that was the first time we launched. We did that course. We kind of bootstrapped it, but it was great content. People loved it. So we did really, really well with the first launch. The second launch, we actually fell into the perfectionist trap. We hired a video crew. We made everything ridiculously professional. I mean, we did like our opt-in videos before the course and had like scripted and like did a studio, everything. We made more in the first launch than we did in the second launch.
Wow.
And we had just as great of feedback from both, right? So I share that with you because it doesn't matter how it looks. What matters is that people get value from it. People just want results. I've gotten a 1-page download that's given me better results and value than a 50-page download. So it's not about sitting there getting trapped in the perfectionist. It's just about asking yourself, like, what does my ideal client need? What solutions are they seeking? Will this provide them solutions? And then just testing it, getting it out there. And then the second story is when I had my own business, the first course I created, it was called Marketing Web Shop. It was like 5 years ago. And I basically kind of I had this like 4W method that I had worked on, and I took it and I put it into a course with my business partner. So we got it out there. I think we sold like one. And it was like, at the time, it was like a weekend workshop / course. So it was like, so we thought we were like so innovative, right? And I think we literally one person and then like 2 free people. But what we did is we just kept revising that course. 4.5 years later, the course was the same principles. It was just a better and better and better version of that course. And we wouldn't have known if we didn't just get it out there, right? We just tested it, got it out there, and then we started testing it on our clients. So we said, okay, let's see what works with our clients, what doesn't. Then we'd modify the product. Then we would just continue to revamp it. We probably launched it like 5 or 6 times. It ended up being like a really good course. And eventually we actually sold a good amount, far more than one. So that's just an example of just get it out there. You've got to get that first iteration out to get feedback, because if you're the problem with being a perfectionist and trying to make it the most perfect course possible, because I have coached people that spent 2 years on their course and then they get it out there and they don't sell any. You're not going to know if it's going to work or not until you get people in there. So get it out there, get beta testers. If you're really scared about it, just have some free testers come in or charge them, a 50% discount, get them in there, ask for their feedback, continue to make the content better, and just put it out. And you can make 5 versions of the same product over time. It'll just keep getting better and better.
That's great advice. And yeah, like we say to everyone, done is always better than perfect. Just get it out there and let your market, let your customers, let your testers tell you all about it. Is there any more questions coming in through the chat, Rob? Or
you know what? I think everyone is pretty quiet today. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. But yeah, just a word on that. Just the perfectionist thing. Like over the years here, me and Patty, we've been here almost 3 years. When I first started, there's like some course creators that have literally sat on their course for like, a couple months, 6 months. There's one that was sitting on it for about a year before he launched. And when they launch it, there's no, they find that there's no market for it. It's the wrong topic, and so they essentially, sort of like put that year to waste because they were so scared to put it out there into the market. Some courses also, some topics will change, right? So if you're talking about, say, Facebook ads, and you sat on that for a year, those strategies may no longer be relevant. So I love your tip there with just like get it out there, get the first version out, and listen to your audience and see, if it's a fit, and then make iterations. I think Patty, was it Scott Olford that we talk about where he actually like re-recorded his content like 6 times?
He's done it like 6 times. I think he done it in the space of like, I think we got the quote around 2015, 2017. I think he said he'd done it like 6 times.
6 times.
And he's extremely successful digital entrepreneur. And he had started from very humble beginnings as well. So, Lindsey, like I know, obviously your time is precious. We're going slightly over time, but what would be the best way for people to go and sign up for Hello Bar? I know the answers anyway, but like I'm going to let you do that. What would be the very best way for people to go and give us a try for free?
Yeah, for sure. So you can actually just go over to hellobar.com. And you put in your URL, and you'll just be able to sign up for a free account over there. If you just head over to the site, you can grab your free account, and we're excited for you to test it out and be a part of our community.
Amazing. Well, Lindsey, thank you so much for being part of today's Facebook Live. We really are looking forward to getting you on to another one as well. And if you've got any big like product launches or like redesigns of the app and stuff, and you want us to like let the community know about as well, we'd love to get you back on again. And I know Lindsey's really keen to do like a whole hour's worth of training. So if you are interested in knowing more about that in 2019, then let us know in the comments. Drop us a 1, drop us a yes, drop us a I'm in, and we'll obviously let Lindsey know as well. And if you've got any questions, Lindsey, do stick around on our Facebook group as well and our YouTube video in case we see some more questions coming over time. But we'll tag you in and we'll go from there.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me. And thanks everyone for being here.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. See you later.